So Pete Hegseth's confirmation hearings are going on in the Senate. The general consensus among people on the left and among centrists seems to be that he's getting absolutely cooked. And the only people who think he held his own are people who are pretty much on the far right. So let's talk about how dangerous Pete Hegseth might be, because there's a chance he gets confirmed. And the Republicans will have J.D. Vance as a tie-breaking vote in case some Republicans in the Senate majority decide to defect from their party. So I wanted to talk about this Slate article that I found. I'm a Marine. I can't get one part of the Pete Hegseth hearing out of my head. At his Senate confirmation hearing yesterday, Secretary of Defense nominee Pete Hegseth refused to state whether he would follow an unlawful order given by Donald Trump. During the nationwide protests after Floyd's murder in 2020, Trump asked the then chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, quote, "Can't you just shoot them? Just shoot them in the legs or something?" It is entirely conceivable that during his second term, that what was previously a question becomes an order. Yeah, not only that, but maybe he'll have them shoot him in the heads. Like, who knows how draconian and authoritarian this guy's going to get. And then the Supreme Court will just back Trump and say, well, actually, that's constitutional now. And they'll completely reverse a bunch of case law. Everyone in the military chain of command swears an oath to the Constitution that requires them to disobey unlawful orders. And to be very clear, a mass shooting conducted by the government against its own citizens is definitely that. If the Secretary of Defense is unwilling to fulfill that oath in contradiction of a commander-in-chief who demands absolute fealty from his subordinates, it will fall on the uniformed career service members to uphold the Constitution and ensure that the military is not unleashed on American citizens. Although individual service members are legally authorized to use force in acts of self-defense against an imminent threat, an order to fire on civilians would not just be unlawful, a violation of the rules for the use of force, but a war crime under the laws of armed conflict. An order by Trump to deploy the military and have it open fire on protesters would be catastrophic in a way few Americans who haven't served in uniform realize. Unlike the National Guard at Kent State, today's military is significantly more lethal. That is true. In 1970, the Ohio National Guard killed 4 protesters and wounded 9 at Kent State, firing bolt-action M1 Garand rifles, which held an 8-round magazine and could fire 40 to 50 rounds a minute. As one National Guard member there that day recalled, "I distinctly heard one shot fired. Then all hell broke loose when 28 men fired a total of 67 shots over a period of 13 seconds. So, yeah, this is all true. This is all a very good point. The Constitution is just a joke to Trump and his acolytes, it seems. And Pete Hegseth, some people might say, oh, well, they gave him a dumb question. It was a dumb hypothetical because Pete Hegseth knows that Trump would never give him an unconstitutional order. Really? That's what you think? That's your dodge? That's your deflection from this? No. The guy refuses to upset Trump, but at the same time, he has to appear a little bit sanitized to try and keep some of those moderate Republican votes, or maybe, if he's really lucky, get a Democratic vote or two. But yeah, this was just embarrassing. And yes, it is dangerous. So look, while Hegseth is kind of just a knucklehead, kind of just seemingly a clown on Fox News, like just someone who goes on and says really dumb stuff, objectively false stuff all the time, and, you know, doesn't really seem like an actual committed ideologue. It's also the case that he is a neocon and that he doesn't care about the Constitution and that he's willing to put it aside for Donald Trump. Lastly, I also wanted to point out that, you know, Pete Hegseth's personal life is not entirely irrelevant in this case. So he's an adulterer. He's someone who's cheated on his wives in the past. Now, why is that relevant? Your spouse is someone that you swear total loyalty to. If there's one person on the face of this earth that you need to be loyal to, it's your spouse. And Pete Hegseth failed to do that. And I'm not saying this as some sort of partisan thing. I know that Democrats cheat on their spouses sometimes too. But this is a guy who's going to be in Trump's cabinet, so we need to scrutinize that. So if he'll break his loyalty to his wife, why won't he break his loyalty to his country? What's stopping him? Now, on the flip side, if he'll break his loyalty to his wife, maybe he'll break his loyalty to Trump. You know, maybe that's a positive way of spinning it for progressives and for people who want to see a Trump cabinet that is willing to break with Trump. But if Pete Hegseth has to choose between his country and Trump and his political party, he's going to choose Trump and his political party 10 out of 10 times, 100%. He's siding with Trump. So he's a Trump loyalist and he's a neocon. It's the worst of both worlds. Because sometimes you get a Trump loyalist who's actually not a neocon. But sometimes you get one who is a neocon, and that's what we have with Pete Hegseth. So on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of how dangerous he is, I would put him at an 8 or a 9. He's pretty freaking bad. You know, he's up there. Matt Gaetz would have been like a 9 or a 10, but he's no longer in the running for Attorney General. Yeah, he couldn't make it far enough, could he? I think it was November 20th, so it's been a while now since we've heard about him in the news. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. How dangerous do you think Pete Hegseth will be to our country? Do you think I was too harsh on him? Do you think I was too generous to him and I should have given him a 10? Let me know what you think about those hearings as well. As always, please like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.